Welcome to Finance Deep Dive. So, the Federal Reserve just made a big move, and it's going to directly affect the money sitting in your savings account. In this video, we're going to break down exactly what that means for your cash, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it. Let's get right into it.
This is the number at the heart of the whole story, 0.25%. The Fed just cut its key interest rate by that much. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds tiny, right? But trust me, the ripple effects from this small number are huge, especially for your savings. Here's our game plan for this video. First, we'll look at what the Fed actually did and why. Then, we'll trace that ripple effect right to your wallet. After that, we'll get real about the new reality for your savings. And finally, we'll walk through a game plan you can use right now. All right, let's start at the beginning. We've got to understand the why behind the headlines. What exactly prompted the Fed to make this cut in the first place? It all comes down to this thing called the federal funds rate. It sounds complicated, but really, it's just the interest rate banks charge each other for overnight loans. Think of it as the economy's master switch. When the Fed flips this switch down, borrowing costs go down everywhere, and that directly impacts the interest you earn. And if you look at the timeline, you can see this isn't just a one-off event. After holding rates steady for a while, the Fed made its first cut in September, and they're signaling that more cuts are likely on the way. So this isn't just a single event, it's the start of a whole new trend for interest rates. So how in the world does a decision made in Washington, D.C. actually change the numbers you see in your banking app? Well, it all comes down to a simple ripple effect. It's basically a three-step chain reaction. First, the Fed cuts the rate. That makes it cheaper for banks to borrow money from each other. And since banks need to maintain their profit margins, they then pay you less interest on your deposits. Essentially, their savings become your lower earnings. This quote really just sums it all up, doesn't it? Lower rates are fantastic news if you're a borrower. We're talking mortgages, car loans, credit cards. But if you're a saver trying to grow your cash, you're now in a much tougher environment. That's the fundamental trade-off. Okay, let's make this personal. Let's move on to the new reality for your savings account and break down how this is going to play out for different kinds of accounts. And this chart, wow, it paints a really stark picture. A top high-yield savings account, an HYSA, can earn you over 10 times more than the national average for a standard savings account. And a checking account, that's practically zero. In a world of falling rates, the difference between these accounts becomes even more critical. So who gets hit the hardest here? It's the accounts with variable rates, like HYSAs. They're going to feel the impact first and fastest. You'll see those APYs start to drop. Now, for certificates of deposit, CDs, any existing ones you have are safe because that rate is fixed, but any new CDs you open will almost certainly offer lower returns. Let's just focus on the most popular option here, the high-yield savings account. Before the cut, rates were sitting pretty comfortably, somewhere between 3.5% and 4.5% APY. But now, well, those yields are just kind of clinging to 4%, and the universal expectation is that they'll continue to slide down with any future cuts. All right, enough about the problem. Let's talk solutions. This section is your game plan, packed with smart, actionable moves you can make right now to protect your money. So, what's the move? This really isn't a time to sit back and just watch your earnings fall. It's a time to be proactive. So here are 3 actions you can consider taking. First up, act fast and become a high-yield hunter. Don't just assume your current bank has the best rate. It really pays to shop around, especially because online banks are often a little slower to drop their rates. That creates a window of opportunity for you to lock in a higher return. Second, you should seriously consider locking in today's rates. If you've got cash you don't need to touch immediately, a CD can secure a higher rate before they fall even further. Treasury bills are another fantastic option, with similar yields and the awesome bonus of being exempt from state and local taxes. You could even use a laddering strategy to maintain some flexibility. And third, diversify your approach. This is not about putting all your eggs in one basket. You absolutely need to keep your emergency fund liquid and accessible in a high-yield savings account. But for any extra cash, for long-term savings, consider moving that into those fixed-rate options like CDs to protect it from any future cuts. And remember, no matter where you decide to put your cash, your deposits are safe. The FDIC insures your money up to $250,000 per depositor per bank. That is your safety net, so you can rest easy. So, let's end with a little perspective here. There is absolutely no need to panic. A single quarter-point cut is not going to derail your entire financial plan. The key is to stay informed, make some smart adjustments, and keep your focus on your long-term goals.
If you found this video helpful, please do us a favor and subscribe to the channel. Your support really does motivate us to keep posting more content just like this. Thanks for tuning in.